Hello comrades! Some of you maybe know that yesterday I wanted to make a conversation with comrade Haz from USA, who makes a YouTube channel Infrared. Unfortunately, this discussion was cancelled by him in the last moment, and I hope that we will talk next Monday. Video which I recorded today, it will be comment to one of the video from the YouTube channel Infrared, because in the last days I prepared for this conversation with Haz and I listened a lot of video of him, so it will be comment to the discussion, to the debate of two YouTube content Marxist creators. One is the Yason Unruhe and second is the Haz from Infrared. So they discussed about the stolen land in the USA and Canada. But firstly, before I started to analyze the arguments which was in this debate, I want to say one thing, that this debate was awful because it was very these people, these comrades, didn't respect the one of each other. Especially Yason Unruhe was very not kind all the time. He yelled, he stopped, it is for me it is something shameful. It is a shame that the two Marxists can't discuss normally, listen one of each other, and all the time one try to stop and it's not good. I like discussion like this, but with anti-communist, with our enemy, somebody who defend a capitalist system or attacked Soviet Union. With guy like this, no problem. We can discuss, we can forget about savoir vivre, but with comrades, I hope that the even if we are not agree with somebody, for Marxists we have to have respect. Okay, so there was a very heated discussion about the stolen land in the USA, and Yason Unruhe said that the land was stolen from the Native Americans, and today the leftists, the Marxists in the USA, have to fight for the give this land back to these Native Americans. And Haz answered that these Native Americans is only 1% of the population, and it's something that now it can be something that communists fight in the USA, because what to do with 99% of the USA? So Haz was against give this land back to the Native Americans, and it was the most important subject of this conversation, but they tried to discuss about this, I don't know, 30-40 minutes. So Haz used argument that the land in every place in the world was stolen, and Yason Unruhe answered that maybe yes, maybe not, but he don't know. He didn't study these examples of other countries, so he don't know. He doesn't know. So I would like to make an example of stolen land from my country, from Poland, and the history of the building of socialist Poland. So I would like to say that the Poland before Second World War was a multinational country, and the Poles was only 66 or 67% of the population. The other population was the minorities. There was the Germans, Jews, Ukrainians, Belarusians, and others. But these four nationalities was the biggest one. The population of Polish Jews was something like 10%, but in the smallest cities, there are the city, for example, in the region of Poland, Mazovia region, where my wife lived. And there is the small city of Płońsk, where before Second World War half of the population was Jewish, and all the center of the Płońsk was a Jewish. It was a building which was a property of the Jewish people. There was also many buildings of the rich owners of Jewish in Warsaw, in the capital of Poland, and as you know history, we have genocide of this nation. This genocide was 2 steps. First step was in the beginning of the war, when the Germans decided that the Jewish population of Poland have to be concentrated in the ghettos, which were created in the big cities. So it was the time when the property of the Jews was stolen by the Polish, because all these Jews from the small village was concentrated in ghetto of Warsaw and another ghetto, and the Germans allowed the Polish people who lived there to take these houses. And it is one example. Second example, it is the situation after the Second World War. In the time of the war, in the time of the liberation, when in the Poland there was a fight, very cruel fight between the Soviet army in one side and also the Polish forces of the General Berling against Nazis. So in 1944 and 1945 there was a lot of battles in Poland, and most of the Poland was destroyed because of this. For example, the Warsaw was totally destroyed after the Warsaw Uprising in 1944. When I said totally destroyed, it was a decision of Hitler. He wanted to punish Poles and make example for other nations that if you will have organized uprising against Nazis, they will destroy your city like the Warsaw was destroyed. So building after building, everything was destroyed. When the Soviet army and the Polish army liberated Warsaw, it was 17 January 1945, Warsaw was totally destroyed. And after, when all the Poland was liberated, the Polish communists who was lazy, they wanted to move the capital of Poland to Łódź. Łódź, because they didn't believe that it is possible to rebuild Warsaw very fast. And also Łódź was in the new borders of Poland, more in the center of the country. But it is Comrade Stalin who decided that Warsaw will be rebuilt, and Warsaw will be rebuilt very, very quickly. And because Warsaw, it is historic capital of the Polish nation, and it is also the very important city for the history of the Polish revolutionary movement. Warsaw needs to be rebuilt, and with the help of the Soviet engineers and Soviet qualified workers, Warsaw was rebuilt very, very quickly. It was one of the miracles of socialism, and the city, which was totally destroyed, few years later was rebuilt. One of the conditions of the rebuild of the Warsaw was a decree of Bierut. Bierut was a president of the socialist Poland, and he decided that all the property of the people who died in the time of war will be taken by the state. It was the property of all people who died, so it was the property of the Poles, of the Germans, of the Jewish, and the other nations. So the land in Warsaw and other cities was nationalized by the state, and it is the state who decided that the city will be rebuilt. And they rebuilt this city, and Warsaw, in the time of the socialism, was a unique city in the world, where the difference between Warsaw, capital of the socialist Poland, and the capital of the capitalist countries was that in capitalist countries, in the center of the cities, where we have the old town and the building, administrative buildings, and we have the monuments, historic, it is normally it is reserved for the people very, very rich, for the bourgeoisie. And in normal capitalist cities, the workers have to live in the very ugly places. In Warsaw, there was something different, that Warsaw was rebuilt in the time of the socialism, and workers could live in the center of the city. After counter-revolution, it was one of the most important fights. The reprivatization was the new bourgeoisie wanted to kick out these workers from the center of the Warsaw. And this battle is there was a lot of eviction, and a lot of people sent to homelessness, and many sad histories. Now it is almost finished, this reprivatization. But of course, there are all the time people who want to take something. Polish Parliament few months ago decided that the reprivatization officially is finished. So when all the new bourgeoisie take what they wanted, they stopped the reprivatization, but it is finished. And this decision that reprivatization is finished, it is something which is that the state of Israel and the Jewish from USA are not agree. So it is one of the most important conflict between Poland and Israel, that Israel wants to have money. They want to have money for these people who are Jews, and they died in the time of war, and they used the name that Poles was the accomplice of the Nazis, and they stole the land, stole the properties, stole the buildings of the Jewish population. And so I wanted to present you that it is not only the question of the stolen land, it is not only the question of the USA, but in Poland also exists this problem, and this problem is one of the most important discussion between Poland and Israel today in 2021. So if this land was stolen or not, it is not me to decide it. I wanted only to say that the Yason Unruhe, he used argument that the United States, which is imperialist, capitalist, bourgeois country, stole the land, and I want to. This example of Poland show that socialist state and the decision of Comrade Stalin. They also, it is not stolen land, but how you can steal from somebody who died. And also the Warsaw in 1945, it was something, it was totally ruined cities. But today the Poland is accused that we are thieves, we stole this land. So from the perspective of Poland, we can say that if we use this terminology that the land was stolen, we have to say that yes, it was the communists, it was the Stalin who decided that the land have to be nationalized, and it is why it was possible to renovate and rebuild this country, because I'm talking about Warsaw because it is my city, but the similar things was in the other cities, in the other places, which was totally destroyed by the German when they fled when they were defeated by the Soviets.